Hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
Welcome to another episode of Weconomix. And we have here back joining us
A recurring guest, Swami's twin brother.
Prof. Guna. Yeah.
See the resemblance? Yes. If you haven't figured out by now, you can see there's resemblance. I'm working my way towards it.
Okay. All right. Of course, right now, the biggest thing that's happening, geopolitics, economics, everything is the US-Israel conflict with Iran. This podcast, we are not going to
Go on.
go
details of
on
what-
the details of this war. There's plenty you can watch in whatever platform you are watching. There's a lot of people giving excellent, basically
opinions and-
daily events, what's happening, how it's going to move on, and of course we are experiencing the after effects as it is, right?
After and continuous effects.
Right. Yeah. Docs, can you please give us a grip on what we are trying to accomplish in today's podcast?
Sure. First of all, Arul, Swami, thank you for inviting me. Though I have to disclaim, I invited myself.
That's not a problem.
Today's
Although came out of often.
a phone conversation that Swami and I had, and he talked about this particular topic that he has mentioned very clearly in that it's really important for us to take a grasp of the situation. We are all citizens of the world. We are people who live on this planet. And the biggest question that we have, and I'd like to hear your opinion on it, is that is the very essence of our existence as civilized people. Now, notice I used the word civilized because that word was used to some amount of effect a few days ago. An entire civilization. So why are we talking about civilization? Because when we talk about civilized, there are so many connotations to that. And let's go straight to the point. Are we at risk as civilized people given the events that is happening today? So I'd like to just pose a few questions, and I'm very interested to hear your opinions on it. And Arul, if you don't mind, I'll just start with you. How is this affecting you personally?
Okay, personally, I guess the way I feel about it is I've grew up listening to war stories. My grandma has been through a lot, told me such scary things that I've always thought is something that people in that generation go through. And, I was born the time where a lot of things have been resolved. Peace is something I guess we take for granted, or it's just a gift that we have that we feel like, yeah, it's all right. This is how life should be. But to suddenly see all this happen now, and for reasons that were not there before, it is painful to watch. Of course, it's very painful to watch. I love countries. I love economics. I love countries. I love seeing cities. I love seeing that. But to see some such beautiful cities that's built over time.
Would you like to visit Beirut, for instance?
I've always wanted to visit Beirut. I think a lot of people say how beautiful Beirut is because it has that Middle Eastern culture with its own version of that.
Also called the Paris of the East.
Yes, it's known. It is a famous city, and to watch that get bombed like that in 10 minutes, 100 airstrikes,
Amazing.
it is just. I really wish that video wasn't through. I really wish there was an AI video this time, but it's I guess it'll take us a while just to understand and accept what is happening, and then we have to voice this out and see what difference we can.
So your point, the first point that we're going to make it out here is how this is affecting you personally, even though you are living thousands of kilometers away.
Yeah,
And we live in Malaysia, which is truly, we are so blessed to live in this beautiful country. We are so peaceful. I think it's the comfort that we experience is just
the idea of
and I think the thing that comes with it is you must be grateful that we live in a country like Malaysia.
I feel the whole world should have this
Yeah.
level of peace. And I guess we're also more connected as people and as countries. I wouldn't have watched what happened in Beirut so quickly and covered in so many different ways if it was during my grandma's time. So when it happens there, it hits us very early. So it doesn't feel like, oh, that's just a different part of the world. Oh, and then that nothing to do with me.
Right. So that element is gone.
No, it's gone.
It just feels like as if it's your neighbor.
It is.
Or somewhere very close
It's
to.
part of, yes, like you said, it's a part of the world.
Right. So Arul has mentioned that.
Yes.
That how it's affecting you personally is that as a person who's from a very peaceful place, and he's not one of those, I'm so glad that he doesn't take it for granted. He was very grateful for it, I can see. And that is one element, that it's affecting you personally in the sense that to look at all the destruction, the sadness that comes with it. What about you, Swami?
I will go on your basis of history, okay, because I think that is very important. Because you brought about World War II. Because after World War II, the world, we went through a pivotal moment where the world made a conscious decision not to do this again, okay, not to get back into wars, destruction of human life.
It's 2026.
Yes, destruction of property, destruction of really basic things.
Yeah.
And usually for reasons people don't really care or don't really factor in their daily lives. What happened after World War II is we had a period of peace that was guaranteed primarily by the United States. And when we were growing up, we felt the full brunt of that peace and we enjoyed it.
It's fresh out the oven.
But, as far as, our generation is concerned, right, Guna, we actually grew up watching a lot of World War II movies. There's a lot.
Many documentaries.
Netflix and the voice of anything in that era is like
War.
But we had raw movies, raw documentaries.
it's
at
a
the time.
recent, it's a much more recent event for your generation than it is for me.
That's right. And it ingrained in us, that, wars, of course, are brutal. And we want to do as much as possible to avoid it and not to go into wars for frivolous reasons.
So, Swamiji, I'll just cut you off here just to say, are you saying that could even be, as unthinkable as it is now, that some degree of justification for war?
Yes, there is. There is definitely a justification for war. And our generation, we felt differently about things compared to where it is now.
Yeah.
Just finishing high school. And what happened that time was the first Gulf War when Iraq invaded Kuwait. Now, I think if something like that happened today, the reaction to that event would be nothing close to the reaction during our time. Because during our time, there was massive disbelief.
How in this age
Yes,
could
at that
happen.
time,
But
yeah.
they so
Operated Desert Storm.
Right. Okay. How a nation can be so aggressive that it would invade a smaller country, take advantage of it, and just annex it.
this is mine.
And so that was Saddam Hussein invaded Kuwait. And the world was outraged by it. And UN kicked into action. At that point, the Security Council came and they gave Saddam Hussein an ultimatum. Leave. Leave or we are going to make you leave. And Saddam Hussein just said, ha, try me. Right? He put the gauntlet down. See if you can.
Operation Desert Storm.
Okay. And so what happened was, it was an international collaboration led by the United States to free Kuwait from an aggressor nation, Iraq. And that event, it's something that the whole world was in it. The whole world said, yes, this had to be done. We cannot stand for this type of aggressive
Not
military.
this time.
Yes, no more. We're done with that. Okay, let's get him out. And it was a very noble war.
Yeah.
It was noble. It was fought honorably, okay, with as little collateral damage as possible.
Yeah.
And what happened? Baghdad was bombed. Okay, it was bombed. It wasn't bombed. It's like scorched earth.
Flattened, yeah.
Military targets were hit. Saddam Hussein was weakened. Iraqi troops were kicked out of Kuwait. And that's it. That's it. There's no, after that preamble of succeeding invasion into Iraq, everyone stopped. Okay, you're out of Kuwait,
Let me correct this and leave.
corrected, and left. Like for instance, this war, right? The US-Israel war against Iran. Now they use the word, it's a war of choice. That is actually a gentrification of the fact. US and Israel are acting as aggressor nations, right? This is a war that is similar to the Ukraine-Russia war. Okay, now the Ukraine-Russia war, a superpower is invading a smaller country. For whatever reason,
it wants it to be.
it didn't get, yes, it didn't get, there's no justification for it. It is an aggressor taking over a smaller, weaker country. Why? Because it can. Bigger gun doesn't give you a moral right
Yeah.
for anything. So this is where, if you have an aggressor nation bullying a smaller nation,
Yep, that's what it is.
simply because they have the ability, because they can.
And they don't feel they need to be accountable for it. They don't feel like, hey, I can do it and just watch me do it.
And during our time, such a situation would have brought about international condemnation. The outrage would be palpable. Even the Russia-Ukraine war was just, okay, Russia wants to take.
Between the two of you, I don't want to be part of it.
Yeah, I know, okay, what can we do? This is a similar premise to the war on Iran. No, Iran is a wonderful country, and I know, you have friends from Iran.
I have friends from
You have friends from Iran.
And there are many Iranians in Malaysia. Thank you for being here. Yeah.
Wonderful.
And my birthday is March 20th, which coincides with Nowruz, which is the spring equinox festival that is celebrated by Persians. So I feel a very close kinship with Persians and Iranians.
Why your birthday? That's interesting.
Yeah, exactly. I was just the spring equinox thing. And for some reason, I've always been fascinated by that region. And it's really heartbreaking, the destruction and everything that's going on there. But, I'm absolutely heartbroken by what happened in Gaza. I mean, I also have Palestinian friends, and I just cannot imagine the scale of destruction they've
Genocidal.
genocide.
Here's another thing that we just sweep under the carpet.
Yeah, it's like it happened, and we've normalized it somehow. So it's like, something like this happens, and it's normal. It's not
Normalize it by just doing
it. Just happened, and now they're attacking. Yes, of course. And I have to say the events of October 7th were absolutely horrific.
Yes, no doubt.
Absolutely unimaginable, horrific. And action must be taken. And those people who did that must be brought to justice.
Okay, we are talking about
War.
being pro-humanity.
Correct.
It's not, we are not saying that IRGC is, I would never want to live under that. Okay? And I definitely love to go and visit Iran, love to meet the people there. But you ask me to live under IRGC, I say no, sorry.
Yeah.
It's a police state, right? It's a highly militarized state. But the fact is, if Iranians want to change their government, it is up to them.
Iranians, yes.
But
Right.
through their democratic process, whatever process they want to do, it doesn't matter. Democratic process, or they have their own skirmish, they fight for it. Like, okay, the women's footballers, Iranian footballers in Australia, who did their protest. That's their right. Now, as far as Iran is concerned, their government, it's their issue, it's their problem, it's what they want. There is no justification for any country to decide that they have the right to regime change in that country.
Yeah.
Unless it's a UN
Any
resolution.
foreign country
Any
change the regime of a particular country.
Right? Or you use threats to the world, or something like that.
Unless there's a UN resolution, there is an international body that says there's something like genocide, something that we cannot stand because it's against humanity and we need to stop it, that's a right.
Yeah.
Okay,
There's a concern
that's
of the
why the
world.
United Nations
Exists.
exists for that purpose.
With that, I'd like to get back to how is this affecting you personally with the backstory that you have said. Now, just to put it in context, you talked about a time when horror of horrors, and through history we know that there's sometimes a justification for war. Sometimes. We've moved all past that. It's now 2026 and we are bombarded almost every day with images that make us so uncomfortable, very depressed and sad for those people. And Arul has mentioned that. Do you have any other elements to add? Because
I have to say, so while mentioning that, I just realize again how normal it is to watch videos of a city getting bombed now.
it's become normal.
It's like it is like it is just part of my feed. It's not a one-time rocket. Would you believe this happened? It's a okay, what happened today? Okay, what happened today?
Right. This war actually takes me back to 9/11. Because 9/11, I was in the United States. So it wasn't just a normal day. I was working outside with my colleagues and all that. Suddenly someone comes, one of the colleagues who had the TV on, they say, hey, you know what? A plane hit the Twin Tower, one of the Twin Towers.
What? Is it?
You know, so the first thing that
sentence is like,
no, the first thing they went, why are you making such a big deal? Maybe a Cessna or some small, some guy who knows, maybe he had a heart attack while flying and then he go and hit the plane, some small plane or something. He said, no, not a small plane. It's a passenger plane filled with people. Okay, a huge plane went inside. I said, what? So the next thought is, maybe there's some technical difficulties in the plane and the pilot tried his best, but he couldn't avoid. Boom, hit. So then, myself, my colleagues, we all went to watch it. See what's happening.
Everyone is just watching the first one. Like it's like, this
shocker.
Yeah,
it was a shocker.
What's wrong? What's happening?
We weren't even thinking what's happening because at that time you're thinking, this is some kind of technical,
crazy
practical.
I thought it was some movie that somehow got inserted into the CNN feed.
Then about 20 minutes later, while we are watching TV, boom, the second one goes.
There's another giant plane.
Another giant plane. Okay, because by this time all the cameras were there. Boom, a second one goes. And then we hear another one hits the Pentagon. Now, at that time it became clear to everyone, this is not right. US is under attack. And then we hear the news. Okay, Bush comes out, says, close all the airspace, every single plane, land. Wherever you are, land the nearest airport, US airspace is closed. It became clear that this had to be a terrorist attack. And the very next day, the international outrage that this could happen was so strong. The whole world basically was in solidarity with the
United States. Yeah. Okay. Some of us never really recovered. Yeah.
Absolutely outraged by the act, of this murderous act. And it's amazing, because we were watching television and we could see the people jumping out of the building.
It's crazy.
They were basically deciding,
will I burn here or
either it's hard to die. How do I want to die? Do I want to burn alive or do I want to jump and die this way? Such a horrible thing to have to do.
On a day they went to office. It's just a day they went to work.
Right. So this is terrorism. After that, the whole world got together. Phone calls were coming to the US saying, whatever you need, we are behind you.
Yeah, we are here.
100% behind you. We are not going to stand for it. Absolutely not. Okay, whatever you need, we will give you. We will find out who did this. And you can go and get them. We will be behind you.
Exactly.
Right? So, of course, everything has its history. Found out it was Osama bin Laden and Al-Qaeda. And the Talibans were protecting him. International coalition goes in under the Security Council of the UN, goes and takes out the Taliban. And eventually, after a long time, they get Osama bin Laden. Something similar to this actually happened to Iran. And it kind of got, because the bombing and the war was moving so fast and so intense, it just got brushed aside in the news. I follow Al Jazeera with whatever was happening over there. And on the very first day that this started, when they bombed Ayatollah's HQ compound and all of that and killed him. And now on the same day, news came out, broke on Al Jazeera, that a school was hit. Okay, the school was in session that day.
But the US
Children were there.
Tomahawks.
At that time, of course, we don't know.
Now we know it's the
And
Tomahawks.
now we know it's US Tomahawks. But at that time, we didn't know. And children, 165 children, I think children and their teachers, all died.
That's just horrific. Oh, wow.
Such a thing happened. You know,
And this is any.
but so the thing is, was it a mistake? Okay, because you usually,
How big an error can this be? It's not even a military target.
no, see, it's usually when US makes a mistake, they own up to it almost immediately. When they find that something was bombed that wasn't supposed to be bombed, a civilian target, a Pentagon spokesperson will come up and say this was bombed, and it was bombed by the US. They'll say it was bombed by us. It was a mistake. We are
Collateral damage.
we are going to investigate, and we are going to find out where we made a mistake in our intelligence. That's how it goes.
Yeah, because you prevent it at all costs, and this happened.
This one was just silence. Okay. I listened to this podcast it's called Midas Touch, podcast out of America. He covers this war from the point of view of justice. Okay, what's right and what's wrong. And he dug up a video. And this video was a speech given by an intelligence officer, highly ranked intelligence officer, who said this cannot be a mistake. And it was not a single Tomahawk that hit by mistake. You might say, oh, okay, there's an error. It got blown by something, or,
Just debris.
maybe someone put a wrong coordinate in it and boom, it hit that. No. 3 Tomahawks, not a single Tomahawk. 3 Tomahawks were sent to that school.
So
And
targeted.
by the United States, by Pentagon standards, they would have known just by looking at it that this was a civilian target, it was school, because it was painted like that. Now, if this is a mistake, you just have to imagine this. Imagine if this was not Iran, but if this was the United States, or this was one of the European countries.
You'll be a national emergency. It'll be.
It would be nothing less than another 9/11.
Yes, correct.
Okay? This is nothing less than an act of 9/11. They won't ask whether you made a mistake or not. They will say,
You asked for this.
you asked for this.
Hmm.
Right? But what about Iran?
Hmm.
Look at what Israel did to Gaza. Yes, October 7th, you are right. They have the right to go after Hamas. They took it as the right to try to exterminate the Palestinian people.
Yeah. Even today, the rockets in Beirut.
It's not just rockets. They try to starve them to death.
Yeah, every other way.
And what is the world's outrage?
Destroying the hospitals and
Crickets. No world outrage. This is what you call might makes right. I have the firepower. I can terrorize you. I can kill your women and children, and there's nothing you can do about it.
And you have to just.
Okay?
It's just.
This is a war crime. And again, I will state, if this had happened in any other country, in the United States, in Canada, in France, in UK, in Germany, in Italy, they are not going to ask you whether this is a mistake or not. They are going to come for you,
Yeah. It's an agreement already. It's like, okay,
right?
let's go.
So this is Iran. Iran doesn't have that right.
Yeah. Why?
Okay?
I was trying to ask why.
IRGC is not an issue here.
it's not the
This
IRGC.
is about war on humanity. So this is where I'm looking at what's happening in this war, in the war in Ukraine and Russia. And it is a war against humanity. It's the right to kill civilians, to murder women, to murder children, to hit playgrounds, to hit apartment buildings with no accountability, because might makes it right. This is nonsense.
I think we need to have that conversation.
Yes,
Where has humanity gone today?
Yeah.
What has happened that such things are happening in 2026? We are supposed to grow. We are supposed to become more progressive. We are supposed to become better people. Compassion, mercy, understanding. Right? But all of that is gone.
What happened after 9/11? The world was in unison with the United States. In fact, the world mourned with the United States. Condolences flowed from all parts of the world, including Iran. Iranians came out on the street with candle lights in solidarity with the suffering of of Americans at that time. And they were shouting, "Death to terrorism."
Yeah.
Death
That's
to
beautiful.
terrorism.
That's really beautiful.
Right?
And this is what, 2000 and
2001.
More than 2 decades.
25 years ago.
Yeah.
Right.
Quarter century ago. Century.
So
Now,
that is humanity. That is humanity. War must, even whatever war you have, must be guided by humanity. Otherwise, it is a war crime. It must be called out as a war crime. And whoever who does war crimes must be held accountable. We cannot desensitize ourselves of these things. War must be fought honorably. Now, they say this is a legal war, illegal war, all of that for me, just throw that language out.
yeah, I mean, it's
It's either an honorable war or dishonorable
Yeah.
war. What's an honorable war? This has been known since the Middle Ages. An honorable war is a war that doesn't involve civilians. It's fought on a battlefield, soldier to soldier.
Right. So, on that point that Swami just brought about, I think very interesting discourse that you brought. What is your opinion on the leaders that we have now that are part and parcel of this war, that are initiating the attacks, that are asking their forces to go in and kill women and children and destroy infrastructure? Whereas, as you said, you came up in a relatively more comfortable. What do you think of that generation? What do you think of that generation of leaders?
I mean, I don't know. I think.
Do you have an opinion, or are you afraid to say these are bad people, or
No,
do you
I mean,
it's what this politics? This is what happens.
I think this is just. I don't think it's all the leaders involved. I think just people you never thought would lead these countries ended up
Leading the countries.
doing so. And a lot of countries have leaders like the ones that you see today in America and in Israel. But they never had America or Israel as a country. So
That's
The might.
yeah,
Yes.
they didn't have. I
The
mean,
strength.
I mean, they go.
Power.
Yes, and what's crazy is but to watch such irresponsible leaders have so much power and still be able to get away with it. I think that's that voicelessness that we are trying to achieve in this podcast here. I think, like you mentioned, how
you mean why you want to address the voicelessness?
yes, like how Sonny mentioned about how if it happened in Europe, how it would be, and why it happens to Iran, this is okay. And you mentioned about terrorism. We've talked about this, Sonny, but Iran has never come up in the list of terrorists.
No, it's not.
They don't go across the world. They don't go anywhere and like, hey, we Iranians. They don't see that in Iran. And as kids, we know Persia. That Persia is in all our cartoons, in our books, and all. There's so much mystical element to it. There's a closeness to Iran.
Humanity, the idea of humanity is eroding. And if we don't preserve humanity or the idea of humanity where everybody is basically equal, right? It doesn't matter what our race is, our nationality and all that. There are certain basic rights that is enshrined to all of us. We don't want to deride, belittle, demonize each and every one of us for different reasons. At the very least, there's a base that we can agree on for peace. If we don't speak out about these things, if we don't call it out, it will go away. It will slip.
Be forgotten.
It'll be forgotten. Humanity must be preserved. It's a luxury that we have. We are just taking it for
You
granted.
don't realize how recent it is and how special it is to you see someone get robbed of all that.
On this note now, let us close this discussion, this podcast. For those of you who've stayed with us till the end, thank you very much. really appreciate it. But I do have a message that we have. What brought this on was we are really, very upset about the way things are going in the world today with this war, whether it's real or not real or legal or illegal. I mean, conflicts are just very difficult things. It's 2026. It's time for all of us to have better ways with dealing with our disagreements, better ways to deal with how is this that whether we like or don't like people, that's the world is about all of us trying to come to a middle ground, living together. And Arul brought something very good to this discussion about being voiceless. You do not have to be voiceless. Please, whichever side you are on, talk it out. Express yourself. It could be through conversations with friends. It could be a podcast like this. We are more than happy to look at the work that you do, to listen to your point of view. Your words matter to all of us. How you express it through discussion, through knowledge, as Swami has brought out all of history and we compressed it. You know how 9/11 is still so fresh in our memories. How this brought me back this very difficult feeling that we are looking at right now. And we are able to express that. So you can see that we're all upset about it. But what do? We share this with all of you. Perhaps you can write a song or a poem or write a book and share it out to the rest of the world on the anguish that you feel. And you have any suggestions, any solutions, please, we want to hear them. And how, if all of this, whenever we talk about something, we must have a solution. And our solution is to let the world know that there are people who want peace. We are happy to disagree with you. We think the world is great if we can all have these disagreements, different ideas, but we can still be civil. We can still be kind to one another. So that is what, and we have to stop wars. We have to stop them.
We don't need them.
We don't need wars.
Especially Israel.
Yes. He wins in a war. And I want to say, I saw Saving Private Ryan, and the message that we got is nobody wins in a war. One of the best wartime movies, war movies that we've ever had. The Steven Spielberg brought that message out so well, right? We feel it.
I think what you can say is war is obsolete.
War is obsolete.
It should.
It's old school now. It's time to
We
move on.
we need to get to that point.
Okay, so with that, hope to see you in future episodes.
Thank you so much for
Thank
watching.
you guys for letting me moderate this. I had
Thank you, Prof.
I learned a lot.
Thank you.
And,
You really brought out the whatever I'm feeling inside. You really brought it out.
aggravated
to the max
you.
line.
oh well, I mean that's the point of this discussion.
Yes,
But
exactly.
please
Yeah,
like, subscribe, comment. Any thoughts you have, like
Yes,
Prof has said,
and-
please, we want to know what you have to say and please say it.
Yes, and if you are pro-humanity like with us and you would like to come and say your piece and join us here, please do. We are more than welcome. As far as we are concerned, we are putting this out there so that we are one of the voices that can hold up humanity. Because we have a generation coming. We are going to leave this planet to generations yet to come.
Not like this, man.
Not
Not like this.
Yes, we need to speak out. We need to call out what is wrong, what is right, what's honorable, what's dishonorable, and what we'll stand up for and what we want. So
Weconomix.
With that, thank you so much.
let's
Strive to thrive.